Hey, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. It's like 10 o'clock on the East Coast time, but it's morning somewhere in this world. It's might be late afternoon over in Europe. Anyway, hey, happy Scrumming. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and I want to talk about something that's going to happen to you. It will happen. We can say we have all these blockers and managers shouldn't have influence in this and that, or we have our own personal goals, have our own influences, and sometimes we get overeager. I get overeager many times, try to overachieve what I think I can. And you're going to encounter this as an agile coach, as a scrum master, as a team, as a manager. And I want to share teams try to maybe produce more or promise more based on influences, maybe a manager, maybe a team leader, maybe themselves, that they can achieve more than they can. And our job as an agile coach or a scrum master or coach in general is to say, well, what's the data tell you? What did you do differently? What did you change to allow you to assume you can do more work than you did previously? And this is where the retro and sprint planning come together. And this is for our Thursday, where we talk about requirements, reviews, retros, and roles. And we're covering all the bases today. This is job as your Scrum Master role and as a coach. But we're going to talk about a little about retro and how retro plays into the sprint planning activity in that activity. So it's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way. So you can bring more value to your customer, not work so hard to bring that value to your customer, and have a little fun. And if you want a copy of my change book, just sign up for our mailing list. There's some links here. There's links on 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. There's links everywhere. Let's look up 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. You should see a link to join the mailing list, and you get a free PDF copy of my book, and it has 20 other people in it. It's pretty good. I'm way behind on things I got to do, but you know what? It's a constant flow. And with that, let's get into the subject. I got Bubbles over here. She's hanging out. What I guarantee you that you will get a time or multiple times when a team will want to overachieve, or a manager wants to overachieve, or they have influence that they want to make the manager happy, so they're going to try to overachieve. Years ago, I had one team, I had one manager, and the key to this, let me take a step back. The key to this is data, right? Why do we keep metrics? Because otherwise it's all opinion, right? No, I love all these people. Metrics suck, blah, blah, blah. You need some kind of metrics because you need something to back up what your observations are indicating. And let's say in this case, the manager would be like, hey, we promised the product owner, they all went up here. And I remember talking to this executive, and I said, yeah, they're all promising up here in the top, but they're all achieving down here. He says, but the team said that they can do it, so I'm assuming it's good, and they accepted it. I'm like, what in the data is indicating that they can achieve this? And I'm like, what have they done? What have they done differently? What have they changed in order to go from here to up here, up, in the production output for the team for the sprint? And they always look at me like, what? I'm like, yeah. Where's the data? You tell me you're a data person. Where's the data? And this is great for IT people because they all say, well, I'm a data person. I need the data. Well, then tell me where the data says you can do more work. The other day, I had a team I was coaching, and the scenario was they had a bad sprint. It happens all the time. But now in this sprint, they think they can overachieve more. Now, I don't know if it was a makeup for all the stuff they didn't get done, and they're just moving it into the new sprint, and they're doing that way. Maybe the managers say, hey, we should do more. Then my challenge to them during the sprint planning was a little mini retro. There's no rules, so you can't do little mini retros anytime you need to. And these are the tools in you as a scrum master, as an agile coach, it's toolbox, right? Is the data. I said, well, okay, let's say you can achieve, you think you could do more because, or you're using an excuse, oh, this, wasn't able to produce as much as we thought because of these problems, then I'd be like, okay, fine. And then let's go back to your previous level if you think you're good to go. But instead of doing that, they went above and beyond what their normal output was. And I'm like, okay, because they have all these excuses. I have excuses all the time. So I'm not saying anything bad. It just happens, but I acknowledge the excuse that it's an excuse and it really has no legitimate bearing on what the future is going to hold. And I go, so what did we do differently? What did you improve between last sprint and this sprint? Maybe you did some process improvement stuff that I just didn't pick up on. Not that I haven't done this stuff for 30 some odd years and I can pick up on, whoa, you did something different. What did you do? Now they think they can do more. And I'm like, well, what makes you think you can do more? Right? And what did you do differently? And now a couple people in the room actually clicked in when I said, Greg makes a good point. What did we do that we can now say we can produce more in the sprint than we normally would do? And some people might say, like, this is a holiday. I did a holiday show the other day where we talked about knowing what people are, prepping, watching what your commitment is and how you do. And I did a survey the other day, which I'll share. Like, are you committing to more? Is it less? How many sprints? I'll share that out on LinkedIn for those who follow me on LinkedIn or connected to me. And I should I'll put it on YouTube too. Just I'll put that little image. I'll put it in YouTube just to share that results in the YouTube world as well. And I'll do it on Facebook because we're in YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So if you follow us on those, you should get a connection or you should get a notification that we went live. I probably got one on my phone. Yep. Says on Facebook, we're live. Cool. What did we do, right? What data did we do to do that? And I think part of them are like, well, we increased the length of sprint, and that's okay because half the team's going to be out, blah, blah, right? Blah, 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 blah. But even though you did that in half team and you just said this and that, what makes you think you could do more than you averagely do in the sprints over the past time, right? And maybe there's a standard deviation. If you want to get really technical, you could do a standard deviation of your average and all. You can do an average. I do a moving average, something simple, just how we did the past 3 sprints. And it's nothing complicated. And I share that data with the team. And in this past sprint review, I did a little mini retro and I shared the data. Here's the data. Here's what you didn't do. Here's what you've been doing on average. What makes you think you're above it, right? And I wanted them to start thinking about this. And now, am I going to claim success every time I do that? No, because I know from all the years of doing this that it doesn't all the time instantly. There's teams out there that will grab it instantly. Like, you know what? You're right. Sometimes it takes a couple shots of doing it, and then sooner like, okay, fine. All right, great. We won't ask for more. We won't promise more than what we've been doing because it doesn't make any sense. It just stresses us out. And I'm like, bingo! Anyway, I wanted to share that with you because it does happen. And it's really important to have the data available so that when you're prepared, and we talked about this a couple discussions a while, and there's so many sessions. I got 1,240 shows on this YouTube just doing these little under 15-minute shows where I said you got to be prepared for your event. I was prepared. I saw what the production was going into sprint planning, right? Because I pulled the data, had it up on my screen so I could show it in Zoom. And then I also did the moving average. As soon as they click close on the previous sprint, because they like to do it like just before the sprint, make sure and they do something. Like, I'm not getting up at 12 o'clock midnight to go see what they did. I'll see in the morning. I'll see what they finished and I'll grab that information. I populate my little spreadsheet and I can show that. I should do that one day. I'll show you on a spreadsheet how I track it and how I do averages and commitments and the gaps and the moving average and things like that. And I showed them that your moving average, or I've been watching it, even if I don't show them the data, it says, you all been picking so many issues a sprint. Now you all of a sudden picking 30 more issues than you normally do in a sprint. It's not going to happen, right? And my job as an agile coach is to call them to the table. I'm not here to be their buddy all the time. I will encourage them when they deserve the encouragement and say that you did a great job and all. But I'm not here to be the buddy. Yeah, whatever you say is good. I'm a coach. Coaches don't do that. If you did that all the time, your team would never progress. Your team would never get better at what they do. So be mindful, be prepared, do a little mini retro. If you get yourself, have your data available that you can retrospect on the data and share with the team rather than just opinion. Well, here's what you've been doing. Here's your average thing. And you're now picking up here. I says you haven't, I'm asking a question. It's called a powerful question. What did you do in the last sprint or last couple of sprints? Ow, cat's awake. That allowed you to think that you can do more work than you normally do. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something there. And it makes them think because it also sets you up for the next retro, right? So this shows the power of a retro. Did you use your retro? Because I don't control what they decide they're going to work on. Here, come here, cat. There's Bubbles. She's here. She's just flipped out there for a second there and clawed me to death. She's got her claws out. Hi, Bubbles. What's up? I know. I'm not paying any attention. Anyway, it's not our job to tell them what to do in the retro. It's their job to determine themselves, self-determination, self-organizing what they should do to improve their product output. If they don't want to improve their product output, then they don't want to do it. Now, when they do stupid things, we call them out for it, right? So that's part of that thing. Anyway, I'm going to wish you happy Scrumming, a great day. The holidays are coming up. So then there's not going to be as many viewers on here because you're not at work or not going to work, and some people don't do it, but it's a great time to work on your education. Bubbles is here. There's fur flighting everywhere. Anyway, like I said, I want to wish you the best. Happy Scrumming. Don't forget, bring your data. Do little mini retros. If your team gets off the mark, don't be hesitant to share the data. Take care, everyone, and see you next time.